If you want the best cabin, better airfare, and time to plan your dream vacation, then booking your cruise 1 year in advance isn't just smart, it's strategic. Hi, I'm Karen with Brilliant Travelers, and I've spent the past 7 years immersed in the travel industry. Everything from creating complex trips to tracking cruise pricing. And I'm bringing that to you now through this YouTube channel to help people like myself, Gen X, empty nesters, who are looking for unique cruise experiences, better ways to cruise. So today we're going to look at why booking your cruise a year in advance can save you money, can lower stress, and can give you better access to everything. So stick around. One great reason to book 1 year in advance is to make sure you get the cabin that you want. Not all cabins are created equal. Most people tend to want balconies, they tend to want them midship, and they tend to want them higher up on the deck plan. So to get those cabins, you've got to make sure you get in there and book early. They sell out quickly. When you book late, you end up quite often with the least desirable cabins. So these can be cabins that are maybe located under a restaurant or the pool deck, which can be very, very noisy. We were under a restaurant one time, didn't open until dinner time, but believe me, they started cooking and setting up and rolling those carts at about 6 a.m. So that was not a desirable cabin. We learned a lesson. By booking a year in advance, you can check out that deck plan, find exactly what you want, and make sure you get the cabin that'll work best for you. By booking early, not only are you going to be able to get your best cabin, but you're also going to be able to spread out those payments. So this can help you to afford some vacations that if you had to pay right away, you might not be able to afford it. You can make that deposit when you initially book, and then generally your final payment isn't due until around 120 days before you sail. So that gives you a lot of time to set money aside every month, or maybe even make payments every month to the cruise line. This can make those more expensive vacations even more affordable. Next, let's look at airfare. International airfare opens up 11 months before the actual flight. So if you have your cruise booked 1 year in advance, you're going to be ready to search for and find the best and lowest price airfare for you. I'm a point monger. I start 11 months out, take my points, find the best deal I can. I have found some fantastic deals 3 years in a row now for Doug and I to fly business class to Europe, which normally we could not afford without those points. That is when the best pricing happens. That is when also the best options in terms of nonstop flights, different flight options into different airports are all available. So having that cruise booked, knowing what dates you want or need to fly, can help you get the best airfare options. The other great thing about booking your cruise in advance is having the time to plan. So by booking early, you're going to be able to look at different excursion options. They're going to be available. They won't be sold out. You're also going to be able to start planning what you're going to wear, do a little research into what the weather might be like, kind of decide if you've already got something or you will need something else to take on the trip in terms of clothes. And then even think about if you're doing a pre or post cruise stay because you're flying to Europe, then maybe you want to spend a couple of days. What do you want to do with those days? And what cities do you want to fly into and spend a little bit of time? So it gives you a lot of time to plan, which personally I think is one of the incredibly fun parts of the trip. I love the planning phase because it keeps that vacation in my mind. So for 1 year, I'm kind of living that vacation before I ever go on it. And I think that's fantastic. As you can see, booking your cruise a year in advance can bring you all kinds of peace of mind. You know you've got everything taken care of. You can kind of sit back and relax and enjoy the process of putting the details into place. That way you're not scrambling for those last minute hotels, cabins, and not coming out with the vacation that you were hoping for. Here's a great example of the benefits of booking 1 year in advance. We just booked our August 2026 sailing on Virgin Voyages from the UK to Iceland. It is going to be a hosted cruise by my agent, Doug Gordon, in case you haven't heard. And it is going to stop with an overnight in Amsterdam, as well as 2 stops in Scotland, and then 3 ports in Iceland. I've already started figuring out my points that I can spend on our flights. I'm starting to look at what we might want to do in those ports. I'm thinking about what I want to pack for that time of year in those locations. So to me, that's the real magic of booking early, is spending this time planning my trip knowing that it's coming. So if you're an empty nester thinking about cruising in 2026 or even 2027, because those itineraries are out already, now is the time to start looking. You don't have to book blindly. You can contact my travel agent, Doug Gordon, or we are here to help you with lots of cruise tips on our channel. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe, and we're always here to help make you a more brilliant traveler.